Hey friends, Metapod here, and I want to apologize for the really bad quality of my, webcam. Um, just sorry. Anyway, today I want to start making a new series. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I kind of mentioned it in my other video, but welcome to new series. I think I'm going to call it the Weekly Harden. That sounds awesome, because I'm going to do it once a week, and I'm a metapod, which means I harden. It's about all I can do. And it sounds better than the weekly tackle or the weekly bug bite. Weekly bug bite sounds kind of cool, but the weekly harden sounds better because that's kind of Metapod's signature move. Anyway, I'm going to talk about all kinds of random stuff. I'll try to relate it to games, and I was going to try to maybe play some game while I was doing this. I was going to do Minesweeper Adventure or something, but I get too into what I'm talking about and I talk with my hands, so it'd just be a picture of the Minesweeper Adventure game screen and me doing this crap, so not gonna do that. I'm just gonna talk to the camera. Sorry, you have to look at this face the whole time. I was talking about how maybe I was going to talk about minimalism or something like that, but then a video came up in my subscribe feed from a friend. I call everyone friend, so don't worry and be creeped out that you don't remember me or something, because you probably have no idea who I am. And as a quick background to what that video is about, he is a female to male transgender that is now post-op and living socially and identifying as male. And I'm not entirely sure of the situation, but from the way he talks about it, it sounds like even the people around him that he socializes with may or may not even realize his history and the sex he was assigned at birth. So the topic that he wanted to discuss is, when is it okay to celebrate your masculinity, because the situation is unique for him as compared to someone who has been male since birth. And the problem he seemed to be discussing is, when does this celebration of masculinity, when does celebrating your own masculinity take away power from women? And this is an important discussion that I wanted to talk about as a feminist. Because today, there is this kind of new wave of feminism that is very different from feminism. And before we get really into this, never ever should you dismiss something just because it is done in the name of feminism. I'm just saying that it's important to think critically about things. But what I mean by this feminism versus feminism is, there is this thing called feminism that supports gender equality and empowering women, and it is an amazing thing, and everyone should be a feminist. But you need to understand what feminism means, because there is this kind of weird culture of misandry and hating men that is disguised as feminism, and they are two completely different things. Feminism, awesome. Misandry and feminism, bad. But like I said, don't dismiss something just because it's called feminism. Think critically. That's what this video is pretty much going to be about. Anyway, so the example that he gave in his video, I think, is a great opportunity to illustrate this point clearly. What he talked about is, and I'll kind of cut it short, is taking out the trash. And that when he did it during his time living as a female and identifying as such, taking out the trash was for him or her at the time. I don't know how you use retroactive pronouns, so sorry if it's weird to call the time you identified as female as her. I don't know, that's probably different for everybody, so I'm just going with my gut here. Anyway, so when this person at the time took out the trash, it was seen as kind of a way to celebrate breaking gender roles. And I realized for some people this is a thing, men do this stuff like taking out the trash or whatever, and I realize gender roles are different for individuals and cultures and stuff like that. And in the culture and society that they were a part of at the time, this was a way to celebrate breaking feminine gender roles, that women can take out the trash too, and yeah, go do it, that's awesome. But now, as a male, is taking out the trash somehow taking power away from women, because before it was giving power to women and celebrating the power of women by breaking down that gender role. So now, by doing this and exercising this ability to take out the trash as a man now, is that taking power away from women. And that's what I want to talk about. because there are two situations that I want to use in illustrating taking out the trash. One, are you taking out the trash because the trash needs to go out, and you are ready, able, and willing to take it out, and it's your trash? If so, you're not taking power away from women at all. Now, two, are you taking out the trash because a woman wants to do it and you don't think she can do it, or you don't think she should do it, or a woman was going to do it but you're doing it in her stead because she's a woman and you think you're more capable or able or something like that? Or are you doing it to show off in front of a woman or other people to show that you're doing it and not a woman? Is a woman an important part of you taking out the trash? If so, then that's probably some form of bigotry, and you need to reconsider why you're doing what you're doing. And if some woman is wanting to take it out, just let her take it out. If it really doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But the point is, there are two completely different reasons for taking out the trash. And there is a big difference between celebrating your masculinity or doing something because you are a man and able to do it and want to do it as a man. There's a big difference between that and doing something because you're not a woman and you don't think women can do it or should do it or something like that. Big, big difference. Everyone should be able to celebrate their own identity at any time. There is never a time that celebrating your masculinity is somehow hurting women. Now, there's a time that using your masculinity to empower yourself over women is hurting women, but that is different from celebrating it. Simply being a man and being happy that you're a man and doing something because you're a man and enjoy doing it as a man is celebration. Doing something because you're not a woman and think women shouldn't do it and want to take that power away from women, that's not celebrating. That's just misogyny. And it's important to think critically about your actions and really think, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want to take power away from women, or because I think women shouldn't be able to do this, or because I think there's something wrong with women doing this, or because a woman wants to do this and I don't want her to do it because I'm a man and she's not? If you're not doing those things, then there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, with what you are doing. But in the same vein, I think you have to think about what other people are thinking too. This is what we call a discussion of privilege. There are going to be times when you don't think you're doing anything wrong at all, and you don't realize that what you're doing is somehow stepping on women or exercising some kind of power you have over women as a man. And honestly, you just don't know. So it's important to listen to what women have to say as men. I mean, as a man yourself, if you are a man, and a woman is expressing concern about something you are doing, listen to her. Always listen to her. You've never been a woman, so you don't know what she is feeling or thinking, and it's important to understand and try to get to know what she is thinking and feeling. But that brings us to another point. Just because someone is offended does not mean they are right. And this is where feminism gets out of hand. Just because someone can say, "Hey, male privilege," doesn't mean that it is male privilege. We definitely need to think about it. And we need to think about it very critically and consider that they may or even may probably be right. But if just because someone claims you're exercising male privilege means that you are, then essentially now women have an undefeatable power over men. They can say that's male privilege and that means it is, and now they could use that for anything. Women would have an uncontrollable power over men if men were to abide by this idea of listening to women as a reason to check their male privilege. Now, we should always listen and we should always consider, but we need to think critically. You can't just blindly accept every claim of male privilege as true. But that doesn't mean you should just deny them all either. So think very, very critically, and take what a woman has to say into consideration. Always, every single time. And always think about it very hard. And think, am I actually doing something that is taking away power from women, or perpetuating some kind of negative stereotype, or doing something bad? And don't just say no because you don't feel like you are. Think about how other people feel too. And even if you come to the conclusion, hey, I don't really feel like I'm doing this, but I can understand how it actually is doing this, and I can see the point, and I get it. That's a point. It's a good point. Maybe I really am doing this, and it's not going to hurt me or men to stop doing this, so I'll stop doing it. That's thinking critically. And that's kind of just the point I wanted to make with this video, is that we all need to think critically. And even us, as feminists, we need to think critically about when we are claiming other people have male privilege. It's become a trend in this new wave of feminism to just use claims of male privilege to control men's behavior, and that's not what feminism is about. Feminism is about equality. Men should have every right to celebrate their masculinity, just as women should have every right to celebrate their femininity. Now, we shouldn't have the right to use our masculinity to take away power from women, and we shouldn't have the right to use our femininity to take away power from men. But celebrating and dominating are two different things, and they will always be different things, and we need to think critically about every situation and consider others and use the input of others to figure out what we're actually doing. Because that's what privilege is. It's not realizing that we're doing that because we've always been able to do it. But that doesn't mean every claim of privilege is an accurate claim. And to tie this into gaming culture and gaming, since that's what this channel is about, this is what's going on in the gaming industry right now. There's this whole Gamergate thing and everything, and this is a part of the problem. Because there's all of this radical feminism that is actually misandry, there is this group of defensive men who will not accept anything relating to feminism, even the good feminism, the equality feminism that we all know and love. Well, I guess we don't all know it and we don't all love it, but we should. And they are using this as an excuse to take down all of feminism. They're using this disgusting group of misandrists as some kind of illustration of all feminists, and using it to deny women their human rights and their right to safety and their right to equal employment and things like that. And this is a really messed up thing. For example, someone we do all know and love, even if it's to love to hate her, is Anita Sarkeesian, who you may know as Feminist Frequency from her channel called Feminist Frequency and her Twitter called Feminist Frequency. She is a gaming journalist who talks about games, and she offers a feminist perspective on the culture of video games. She doesn't force any kind of cultural change. She offers a perspective. She talks about her opinion. And for some reason, because her opinion is different than that of those non-feminist men, they feel that this is, for some reason, a good, logical excuse to take away her power to talk about video games on YouTube. That is bizarre! Even if you don't agree with her, you don't have to silence her. There's something really cool you can do in this kind of situation, and we call this civil debate and discussion. If you don't agree with her points, make valid counterpoints. Prove her wrong. Prove why your opinion makes more sense than hers. If that's really how you feel, and you really believe something true, you should be able to do that. But you know what is not the proper solution to this? Sending her death threats, shaming her on the internet. These kinds of things solve nothing. They just prove that you have nothing of real value to offer, and that you feel that she should not be allowed to share her opinion because she is a woman. That's screwed up. If you feel that she shouldn't be allowed to share her opinion because her opinion is wrong, then you're still wrong. Wrong people can share their opinion. It's an opinion. It can't even be wrong. It's an opinion. You know, people have different ones. They can talk about it. I don't understand how people can't get that. And I feel like if it wasn't for this weird threat of misandry and this group of feminists that are indeed attacking men and wanting to take power away from men, then I think people would be more easily accepting of someone like Anita Sarkeesian's opinions. Opinions are not science, and they don't need to be presented as science. She's not saying that she is scientifically correct about her opinions and statements. She's offering a critique. A critique is an opinion. Get over it. Anyway, the whole point of this video is that we need to think critically. Don't dismiss something because it's feminist. Don't dismiss something because it's masculine. Don't dismiss something because it's anything. Don't just accept something because it's feminist. Don't just accept something because it's masculine. Think about it. Ask other people how they feel. Think about it very critically. In the end, it's your life. Everyone should be able to celebrate their masculinity at any time. Whether you are a man or a woman who has a masculine trait about you that you want to celebrate, whether you are a transgender person before or after a physical transition, it doesn't matter. You can celebrate any part of yourself any time you want. There is never an inappropriate time. It's always inappropriate to stomp on someone else's ability to be who they are. But if you're not doing that, you are cool. And taking out the trash is not stomping on anybody's ability to express themselves. Sending death threats and bomb threats and hate mail and all kinds of crap like this is impinging on somebody's ability to express themselves. If they become afraid for their life because they are speaking their opinion, that's trying to take away their ability to express that opinion. That's bad. That's stupid. That's insane. But anyway, back to the original topic. This is all over the place. This is just how I talk. It's never inappropriate. Never, never, never to celebrate your masculinity. And don't let the fear of taking power away from women stop you from celebrating your masculinity. If an issue arises and there is some privilege that you didn't realize, then think about that. If someone says, hey, I don't like that you're taking out the trash because, listen to that. Consider it very carefully. Rethink your actions. Talk with them about it. Explain yourself and listen to what they have to say. That's what you do. I think the most important thing to remember is that feminism is about equality. We are striving to be equal, and equality does not mean taking away power from someone else and giving someone else power over them. It means empowering everybody so that we share power. The ideal end result is not that we all have an equal amount of hateful power over one another, but that we all have no power over one another, that we're all completely free to be ourselves because nobody is taking away from anybody else. We're not searching for power over one another. We're searching for equality, so there's no need for power. That's feminism. That's not feminism, but that's feminism. Learn to tell the difference and learn to enjoy expressing yourself and celebrating yourself, and learn how to tell the difference between that and exercising your power over someone else. But don't ever be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to express yourself or celebrate yourself, even if you're celebrating your masculinity, even if you're celebrating your white heritage and your heterosexuality and your masculinity and your Christianity. Celebrate it. Celebrate it as much as you want. If that celebration does not impede on somebody else, celebrate it. Don't ever stop yourself from celebrating and enjoying your life. And we should all be able to do that and work towards everyone else's ability to do that. Because that's what it's really about. It's about everybody having the ability to do that. Not having power over one another, but that power being gone. No one having the power to stomp on somebody else. So we can all love ourselves. We can all celebrate ourselves. We can all celebrate everybody. And we can all love this life that we lead no matter where it turns. That's what life is about. And that's what feminism is about. And it's awesome. It's awesome. And we can get to this point by thinking critically. Don't just follow one group's words. Don't just be afraid of one group's words. Don't just take something that someone says for granted. Listen to everybody. Think critically about what everybody says, and don't be afraid to express yourself and be who you are. I think that's the best thing I can say on this subject, and it probably took me a really weird route to get here, and I probably left a lot of holes because I just rambled to the next topic as soon as I'm able to think of it, but hopefully this made sense. So yeah, love, love. Pew. That's what I have to say. Love. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Weekly Harden. What do you want me to talk about next week? Was this a bit too bizarre for my channel? I probably don't care, because I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. If you don't want to watch Weekly Harden, don't watch it. I might talk about minimalism next week, but I like talking about this kind of stuff. So let me know what you want me to talk about, and I'll talk about stuff. I'll answer questions if you have questions. That kind of thing. Metapod out!